Tons of point changes for the Imperial Knights. But, are they any good? Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. As always, my name is Jay. And in this video, I want to talk about the update and points from the Field Munitorum for Imperial Knights. Now, for those of you who haven't been paying attention to Imperial Knights in 10th edition, Imperial Knights started out incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. They were one of the top 3 armies for the first couple months. The reason being was, of course, the new towering rules, bonding, points costs, just nothing could kill Imperial Knights. They could outlast and they could score a lot of points. That was nerfed very quickly. The first army that GW really went for, well, I guess Imperial Knights and Genestealer cult. They claimed that they were going for Eldari, but I think they're finally getting to Eldari now. They might finally knock Eldari off the top of the totem pole, but Imperial Knights went down hard. The way that they did it, of course, point changes, they went up in cost. The changes to towering, which allowed enemies to just hide really well against your Imperial Knights. They couldn't see them. And of course, the huge changes to bonding. Bonding is to affect both the... bonding is a special rule, basically, that if a big knight and a little knight were beside each other, they give each other power. And it got changed to only the little knight. And the little knights are easy to deal with. They're easy to kill. They're easy to just pit. You know, like, so you tar pit... You can really deal with them. So you can pick apart the little knights, which prevent bonding from occurring. Plus, it was the big knights that really made bonding insane, right? If you gave it an extra rule like sustained hits or like critical wounds to, or devastating wounds, sorry, to a large Imperial Knight, it became very deadly, right? So GW hit them hard, very hard, and they dropped like a rock. And the latest win rates show that they're in like the bottom 2 or 3 armies in the game now. They went from the top to the bottom in a matter of months, right? Just because, you know, other armies got buffs, other armies got cheaper, other armies got better. Towering really hurt knights, and bonding really hurt knights. So now GW is decided to go backsies. They realized that they really over-nerfed their armies. They're not going to change the rules, though, for the Imperial Knights. So they figured, let's make things cheaper. That way you can bring maybe an extra couple armigers, maybe an armiger or 2. Probably an armiger would be the change in points. If you had a 2,000 point list before, you'd probably have about 1,800 to 1,850. You can bring an extra armiger or Helverin, or, you know, a Helverin or, yeah, one of the armiger knights, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so let's go through them all. There were tons of point changes across the board. It basically was one of the armies that was affected the most by the Munitorum Field Manual was Imperial Knights. Almost the entire army got decreased, which is awesome. None got increased, which is great. And today I'll go through the points and just the overall effect. What you're going to notice is they're relatively, like, the points numbers is big, but relative amounts is decent. But in the end, as I said, the only thing is, of course, you have to remind yourself is that if you brought a 2,000 point list in the past, it'd be maybe a bunch of armigers and 3 big guys. So you're really not going to lose that many points per army. As I said, like a 2,000 point list before is like 1,800 and something now. But we'll start, of course, with the armiger Helverins. They got dropped from 150 points to 140 points, a 10 point decrease. Nice. Helverins are awesome. They shoot well. They have their auto cannons. Like it. All right? Life's good. Canis Rex, who was at one point like the most brought Imperial Knight, got dropped from 460 points to 435 points, so a 25 point decrease. Once again, nice. Castellans, so the Knight Castellan went from 565 to 525, 40 point decrease. Once again, these are great. I'm just going to go through them all. They're point decreases. Crusader got dropped from 475 to 445. I really like that on the Crusader. I love the Crusader because the Crusader is just a gun machine. I love it. They're awesome. Errants went from 430 to 405, so 25 point decrease as well. Paladins, also 25 point decrease, went from 430 to 405. So Paladins went from 450 to 425, sorry. So 25 point decrease there as well. Preceptors went from 430 to 405. Once again, 25 point decrease. So you can see the pattern here. Valiants, 565 down to 530. Nice. So 35 point decrease. And Wardens, 480 to 450, minus 30 points there. So first wave of decreases. I love the Crusader drop. That's awesome. The Castellan drop's awesome. Canis Rex, once again, he's a solid model. The bonding isn't as powerful as it was before, but a 25 point decrease is awesome. 10 points for a little knight, cool. It adds up a little bit, right? The things with this edition is I find myself, like, a lot of time I can't fulfill the 2,000 points anyway, so maybe with these point drops you can bring an extra model, bring an extra upgrade. It's awesome. And they also updated all the Imperial Knight models from Forge World / the new plastic kits as well. So the Asterius model went from 840 to 765, so a huge drop, 75 points. The Porphyrion model went from 745 to 710. The Moirex, 170 to 160, 10 point decrease. The Acheron, I love the Acheron, Giant Flamer Template of Doom. 445 to 425, minus 20 points. I'm not going to take the Acheron any day. Basically, at 425, you have the choice of the Acheron or the Paladin. I'd probably take the Paladin at that point. I like the Paladin myself versus the Acheron. The Castigator, 485 to 465, 20 point decrease. So once again, it's still on the higher end, though. The Castigator is still more expensive than most of the models I mentioned in the first half, right? So the Castigator's going to have a problem getting on the tabletop, I feel, versus like a Crusader or a Castellan or a Canis Rex or, you know, just a Paladin or a Warden, right? They're all cheaper for points. There's the Lancer. The Lancer also got decreased, though, from 495 to 465, so the Lancer's the same price as the Castigator. Now, the Lancer has established itself as the best, like, anti-knight knight, right? So if you know you're going to a tournament and there's going to be a lot of knights or a lot of big super heavies, the Lancer is kind of the best weapon because he's quick and he destroys things in close combat, especially super heavies. And so he's really hard to defend against because he's so fast. You know, he can get a turn 1 assault in many cases and get himself in the opponent's deployment zone, your opponent's deployment zone, and he tends to knock out knights. He's the best anti-knight knight, basically. You can deal with him eventually, but he's just very quick, and he'll kill a few knights before it does do anything. So yeah, again, if you're in your meta, if you know this, a lot of knights are going to come to a tournament, Lancer will be your option. 465 points isn't bad. Again, he's still more expensive than most of the knights I mentioned in the first half, but he's a pretty good anti-knight knight, as I mentioned. The Megara Knight, not very broad at all. 450 down to 425, so a 25 point decrease. And the Styrex, 490 to 460, a 30 point decrease. So once again, that's it. Point decreases across the board. Every knight is better as a result of it. Cheaper is better, right? They're the same strength and power as they were before, and the gun cheaper. Now, do all these point decreases equal a substantially better army? I don't know. That's what I'm going to ask your opinion. Because, again, in a 2,000 point list, I wouldn't be bringing more than 3 or 4 big guys. So, yeah, they've decreased by a total of like 90 points, right? If I brought 4 Helverins, another 40 points freed up. So, as I said, I think if you brought a 2,000 point list before, you convert it to now, you're going to bring an extra Armiger Knight. That's pretty much it. But still, it's an extra model that will help you bond, that will help you, you know, move to objectives, so you can hide, extra firepower. It's just knights are very deal with now. Like, they're very dealable now. My friend Dave was claiming the other day that a squad of Kroot took out a knight in 1 turn. So, knights are nowhere near as powerful as they once were. I think this is going to help a little bit, because it's not going to hurt bringing an extra little guy, but it is not going to be, it's not going to be that of a game changer, I don't feel. I just feel it's going to help them, maybe get them closer to the 50% win rate. The only way to boost this army back is, once again, fix the rules. They really should just bring back the old bonded rule and keep the towering rule the way it is. I think that would be a good balance, to be honest, because towering allows your opponent to hide really a lot, right? The changes when they went back to the old towering style rule, the pre-10th edition rule, it allows your opponent to hide. So it's very manageable to survive from a knight. And I think the old bonding rule is very powerful and would help bring the army back to above 50%. It would help bring it to a more competitive meta, especially now that you allowed an extra Armiger model to be taken with these point decreases, right? Basically, I think the easiest way to fix the army is just simply go back to the old bonding rule. It affects, you know, big knight, little knight. To me, that would be a huge change. Just that little roll, really, I think, would bring them back to the winning category and make them competitive without overpowered. That's my opinion. But what do you think? Leave comments in the comment section down below what you think about Knights so far in 10th edition. Have you had fun playing with them? Have you had fun playing against them? What do you think about these point decreases? Am I right? Do you think I'm wrong? Which Knight really stands out to you? You know, let's create a discussion in the comment section down below. And as always, please like this video, comment in the comment section down below, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Please hit that bell so every time I make a video, you see it and you get to watch the video, which is awesome. Stay tuned for more point reviews and painting videos and painting with Jays. And yeah, I'm just going to keep having fun and making some content. So stay tuned for more vids. Until next time, this is Jay saying happy painting, your Imperial Knights.